Welcome back, my friends. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is Silver Slayer with Andy Shectman, the CEO of Miles Franklin, one of the, if not the most respected bullion dealer out there. I truly mean that. I'm honored to be able to offer you guys a business relationship with them. I mean, one of the only few authorized dealers with the U.S. Mint can find silver when most people can't. And yeah, I mean, ever since I've been working with Andy's open opportunities, I have so many good reviews, and I genuinely feel honored to be able to offer you guys a business relationship. If you did want to purchase, just send an email to info@milesfranklin. Let Andy know. He'll love to hear that I got you over there. So yeah, what's up, Andy?
Not much. I want to read something to you real quick, brother. And I want to apologize to everybody out there. I've been telling everyone for a while that our website was about ready to launch, and this was an email I got back from my developer because I think I scared him a little bit. I say threw out a couple of four-letter expletives and said, "What the hell's going on?" And he says. Andy, I'm so sorry. The site itself is nearly complete, and our team is polishing out the detailed work. Any content-related updates you want to send over our way can be implemented immediately. The delays have come from several critical technical failures of third-party software and from delays by another team that is managing part of the API we rely on for connecting the Miles Franklin site orders to the product database. They just finished a piece we've been stuck waiting for at the end of last week, but then it broke several things in the process. And so it's being redone again. It's very frustrating for us as well, as we have a timeline for finalizing the last critical features for release, but those are dependent on external factors. So we can't quite give a hard, fast endpoint. Unfortunately, I apologize for the vagueness. It would be unrealistic to provide more detail at this point, blah, blah, blah. We're getting close, and I
Yeah,
appreciate people sticking with it. It's something that I really want to get done. Never knew just how frustrating it would be. We started with one developer almost a year ago. That relationship had to be severed and started again, and then it's this. So we're close. I just want people to know that the email at info@milesfranklin will get you an inventory, will get your questions answered, will get
yeah.
you someone to talk to. They can also call 952-929-7006. Say Silver Slayer sent me. I need updated prices. I need to talk to someone. We're every bit as honored to work with you and your listeners. Had some amazing conversations and some amazing clients already. So want to thank you. Want to thank everyone out there for sticking with us during this transition. We're almost there. But yeah, info at Miles Franklin is the way to do it for now. So other than that, I'm good. It's good to see you, man. The times are absolutely insane. What's going on in this industry? And let's talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I just wanted to say real quick as well. I think it's so cool that a lot of people will email me having a question about something pretty serious going on, and I'll kind of hit you up and I'll say, "Hey, I don't know how to respond to this person," and be like, "Shoot them my way." And they'll email me back a couple days later. "Thank you so much. Andy got me all straightened out. I feel so much better now." You're a good guy, just helping.
Appreciate
It's
that.
so cool, man.
You
It's
know, it's
not.
funny you say that too, and I'd like people to think about this for a moment. We have when I went to high school, I graduated high school in 1988, so I'm 52, and the world that I remember is growing up in is different than the world we live in now. I started Miles Franklin in 1989 with my father before the internet, before emails. I grew up going to hardware stores instead of Home Depots. I grew up going to small mom and pop operations that are gone right now. I remembered all of my friends' phone numbers. If you're older than 50, you remember a time when you remembered your buddies and your girlfriend's phone numbers, and you used payphones, and you did things that people don't do anymore. I mean, when I first started, you'd take out ads in the yellow pages. Well, who the hell even uses the yellow
Yeah.
pages anymore? The world has changed. But one thing in my mind, Jordan, that hasn't changed is communication, is relationships. And I think I've shown that to you with our
Yes.
relationship and parlaying relationships I've made into relationships that you are now making, for example, with David Morgan.
Yep, the silver. Yeah.
And relationships are what makes the world go round. And you never realize how important it is until you have a problem. And you know, when you went to the old hardware store, the owner would meet you when you walked in the door and say, "What can I help you with?" And he'd walk out from behind the counter and he would help you and he'd figure it out and show you what to do. And now you go to Home Depot, there's 48 people in orange smocks and none of them are there when you need them and can help you find it. And you ask where it is. I think it's down there. And I mean, the point of it is that we're in a world that is very impersonal, of voicemails and texts and emails and click. We're different than that, always have been. And even when our website is up and running, we will be a hybrid, because I think where we are going, relationships are important. My relationship with you is important to me. When you email me and say, "Hey man, this needs to get taken care of," I'm not going to give that to someone else. I'm going to fix it, because people make mistakes. All of us make mistakes. But what identifies, or what I think, what makes a man or a woman or a business great is not saying that they don't make mistakes. It's admitting that they do, but taking accountability and making it right.
Yeah.
And that's what we'll always do. And so I want to thank you for the relationship, and for everyone out there. And I think that, let that sink in for a moment, because, you know, it's always great, the convenience of modern conveniences, and being able to distance yourself from talking to someone to get your transaction completed. Yeah, that's great sometimes, but other times you may wish that you had a relationship.
Yes.
And I think that's where we're heading, and it'll be more and more important.
That is so true. I mean, perfect example. The episode that I was on with Robert Kiyosaki dropped today, and I started talking about scarcity, lack of silver. And the first thing he says is, "I've been with my same dealer for decades," said, "but my dealer called me up and said he can't find silver anymore." Then he says, "You know who can though? Andy Shectman." And that's a perfect example, is I could offer my audience a direct source instead of having to rely on some site that might have them in stock or might not, or might. But another example of relationships is local coin shops. I have built a very, very good relationship with the owner of my local coin shop. So he will set aside certain, walking liberties and stuff, because he knows I like those. So, that's another great example.
I think people need to not forget that. That's what makes the world go round. And if you can't look someone in the face or talk to them on the phone and have a conversation, it's a problem. But I think that, from my experience, the relationships that I have made over 30 years in this industry, like Robert Kiyosaki, like David Morgan, like Rick Rule, like yourself, like Chris Marcus, and on and on and on, have not only defined me, but also have opened up doors that I never saw coming. And if you never put yourself out there and try to make friends and make relationships, you're missing out. And I think when we talk about precious metals, in some respect, they're better off in a analog capacity rather than in a digital world. And I think, precious metals are as old as human beings, older than, but the human beings' search of precious metals goes back 5,000-6,000 years. It's in our DNA, and there's something I like about it not being online. And I have acquiesced. I'm building the site. It's almost done. It should have been done. We will have it done. But anyways, not to go on and on about it too much, but I'm a big relationship guy. And, if there's ever a problem, you'll find me and I'll make it right. And I hope I've shown you that. And I hope your listeners will believe me on that. Their success, their positive experience is something that really is important to me. And that's why in 33 years and approaching $8 billion in transactions, we've never had a material customer complaint. We've screwed up a lot, but we always make it right. And that is my promise to everyone out there. We make a mistake, let me know. It'll be taken care of and then some.
Yeah. That man, that's awesome. I mean, that's how you do things nowadays. So yeah, you're talking about a lot of stuff happening right now that's crazy. Did you want to talk about anything, in particular? I mean,
sure.
Update us.
One of the things that I've noticed a lot is, When Ronald Reagan was president, he had an economic policy called trickle down, where the very wealthy people, they would give tax breaks to the very wealthy people because they would spend more. And when the wealthy people would spend, it would trickle down throughout the economy. It would provide jobs, and that money out into the economy would trickle down to everyone from the top on down. Well, I want you to think of that in reverse. And what we're seeing right now is a massive, massive drawdown in supply or of product off of the Comex and the London Metals Exchange. The London Metals Exchange has lost more silver in the month of September, 45,166,000 ounces, than is in the entire registered category of the Comex right now, which is 38 million ounces. The registered category of the Comex are the bars that can be delivered. The country of India took possession of about 38 million ounces in August. One country took possession of as much silver as is backing the entire price setting mechanism of the world. The London Metals Exchange in the month of September saw 8 million ounces more delivered, taken off the exchange, than is backing the entire price setting mechanism of the world. The commercial banks have gone long as the managed money has gone massively short, and the commercial banks are still long in silver. The most sophisticated, well-funded, well-informed traders in the world who are always short are now long. The London Metals Exchange has the lowest amount of silver inventories on their exchange that they've ever had since they started keeping records in 2016. The inventories on the registered category, 38 million. The all-time low is 20 million. We're still a ways away from there, but the bleed down from where we were at the beginning of Silver Squeeze to where we are right now, it's like a mountain straight down at a pace we've never seen before. The open interest, which is contracts that are open that could say we want delivery, there are 1,802% more of those contracts than there are bars backing them. Now, that's the exact same thing the Hunt brothers saw in 1980. They saw way more paper than there were bars, so they bought all the paper and stood for delivery until the exchange changed the rules on them. But what I am saying to you before I talk about supply in the industry is real. I talk to contacts I have throughout the world, and I'm told that the premiums on the Shanghai Gold Exchange are the highest they've ever been. Same thing in Dubai, highest they've ever been. I did an interview with Mario Mineco 64 yesterday. He's in the United Kingdom, amazing guy, such a nice guy. And he says, you can't find squat in the UK. I just did an interview with a gal in Australia 2 days ago. Can't find squat anywhere. I get emails from people in Australia. They have a Perth Mint there. They're asking me, where can they buy silver? So what you're seeing globally is a realization that inflation is everywhere, that people are afraid. Are we this close to a nuclear war? Are things blowing up all around the world, with the bond market problem in the United Kingdom, with inflation at all-time highs or 40-year highs, with geopolitical strife, with just coming out of lockdowns, all of these things, crime and all this stuff that is just making people uneasy. And so people are waking up to precious metals. Now, I will say one thing before I continue. The price is the greatest tool of misdirection by the people accumulating it. Like whoever the hell is bleeding down Comex and the LBMA, who took 100 million ounces out of SLV? Well, the authorized participants did over the last 4 months. Who are they? They're the commercial banks. Why are they doing that? Well, maybe they see something that the rest of us don't, because they're closest to the information spigot. They know what's coming. So why, if price is a reflection of demand and of value, why the hell are all of the mecca exchanges where everything starts from the top down, why are they being drained at levels we've never seen? Now let's talk about the wholesale market, the refineries and the mints that I buy from. I had my staff prepare something for me last week. I talked about it a lot on some shows, and since you and I missed our show last week, I'll just for the sake of your listeners, I'll mention it. I said to my staff, can you give me something to explain to the public how hard it is to get bars right now? And here's what I got. Umicore, my operations manager says, wanted to give you a little synopsis of what we're dealing with to trying to inventory silver and want your people to see. So there are 11 points. Number one, he says Umicore, which is one of the world's largest precious metals recycling business, is over capacity. They will not take new orders. They've tried for years to get us on board, he says. Asahi, they bought Johnson Matthey. They are a Japanese company, but they make their bars out of Salt Lake City. Asahi won't take any new customers as they can hardly at this point fulfill current demands. Metalor, who wanted our business for years, now can't accept any new accounts. Geiger Mint in Germany. That's my favorite silver bar of all. Geiger Mint bars are incredible. Cannot get any no more capacity. It talks about Nadir and IGR, both are Turkish companies, having political issues at the moment, cannot get product out of the country. PAMP Swiss is not getting any new allocations until January. Fortunately, we have some product coming in from an allocation we already bought. I'll have those in stock later this week or early next, some 100-ounce PAMP bars. They're awesome. Valcambi, listen to this one. Valcambi, which has been my go-to over the last 2 years, is holding off new allocations because they are concerned about keeping the lights on this winter. This is a company in Switzerland who's concerned about energy issues, not having enough energy to keep the lights on. They're concerned about that, as they should be. And it says availability this winter, they are not sure they'll be running at full capacity. The Mason Mint, we have some product coming in, but their numbers are very small. US Mint, you know this as well as anyone, and JBR products will be available the soonest in late December. Now, those are all of the major refineries and mints. Now, when you talk about the US Mint, they're the model of inefficiency. Silver Eagles are $16 over spot. Gold Eagles are almost impossible to find. And my cost on them is 4% higher than I've ever sold them for in my career to the public. Disappearing. The Canadian Mint, the Australian Mint, the South African Mint, the United Kingdom Mint, they're all running at full capacity and barely can get anything out of them. And if we're lucky, you'll be talking the first week in January before you get product. So as the price has been falling, the biggest money in the world has been bleeding dry from the top down all of the available metal on the Comex, the LME, the Shanghai Gold Exchange, Dubai, taking it out of the back door of the ETFs. All of the major refiners and mints, they don't have anything. They're not taking new customers. Thank God I have relationships with many of them, but getting product is next to impossible. And the 6 primary mints of the world, it's hit or miss. I'm telling you, I have never in 33 years seen anything quite like what we are seeing right now. And it's all being accomplished very easily because people believe that price is a reflection of reality. And, you know, we live in a world where it should be, but it ain't. And price is the greatest tool of misdirection. It is the no-look pass in basketball. They manipulate and engineer a price with futures contracts, which creates a reality and allows them where a guy like Robert Kiyosaki, who's probably a cent a millionaire or more, can't even get silver from the guy he's been buying it for 20 years. So what does that tell you? What it tells me is that times are about to get really interesting heading into the midterm and into the end of this year.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. That is insane. Like out of anyone, like I've said, you know, if anyone had insight to really see how bad it, you know, especially, you know, coming from behind the scenes instead of, you know, someone like me, you would know, you know, firsthand. So that really does
it's frightening. It really is, man. It's frightening.
Like I always talk about it on my channel, you know, but I can't really bring the same validity as someone like you. So if you're also saying it, you know, this isn't a myth or you know how many people I've heard. I actually covered a article the other day. This lady said there's an ample supply of silver on the Comex and was saying all this. Didn't even bring up manipulation. She was talking about 4 different reasons why silver's price is low. Didn't bring up manipulation. She ended up saying there's an ample supply of silver. All this. So I ripped the article. I tried to be very respectful, but you could just tell us. But
Well, you remember I said there's an 1800%, there's 1800% more paper in the registered category. So that it's very confusing for most people. There are bars, all the bars held in the Comex vaults. There's two categories. There's eligible and there's registered. Eligible means, yeah, they could be offered because they're Comex approved, but they are held in strong hands. Like, let's say you have an account at CNT, which is in Bridgewater, Massachusetts, or one of the Brinks facilities that is considered a Comex depository, and it's in your name or in your corporate name, Silver Slayer, Enterprises, and you have 10 1,000 ounce bars. That's eligible. It ain't going anywhere. You have a
right,
warrant. They're yours. They're not going anywhere. They belong to you, or an ETF, or a trust, or a family office, or whatever. Those are eligible. Those are bars that are inside the vaults that belong to people but are not for sale. Quite frankly, those people should get their bars out of those types of facilities. The Brinks facilities that I work with, by and large, are not the Comex depositories, but the depositories that are Brinks, or excuse me, that are Comex approved depositories, you have to think twice. This big money, are they leaving it in there for a reason? Why not pull it off? Maybe this is why you're seeing such a mass exodus by the smart money off of these exchanges, record deliveries that we've never seen before, because they know something is coming. So eligible are bars that are there, but they're not for sale.
right.
Registered are the bars that are for sale. So take that out of the equation. If you want to talk about the eligible bars, that's all of it, all of the silver combined. The open interest now equals 226% of all the vaulted silver at the COMEX. So there are 226% more paper contracts than all of the silver that is there. So what that basically means that one out of every 226 people would get their bars if everyone who had a contract stood for delivery. Is that ample? Hell no, it ain't ample. And not only that, of that silver, most of it is not for sale. 1,800% more paper contracts than the bars that are available for delivery. Is that ample? No, it ain't. And so, these are people who are naive. These are people who believe the manipulation, and I can't blame them, because the price it does a hell of a job on creating a perception of reality. It's a wrong
Yeah.
perception, but people need to understand that the biggest money in the world, they misdirect through price, through rhetoric. They don't want to be crowded out of their trade. And I think if you have the ability to do it, do it. If you're at that level, and that's exactly what they do. They misdirect. They don't want people to know what they're doing. In any game you've ever played, the whole object is to misdirect your opponent. Well, that's what they're doing at the highest levels.
Yeah, I actually just made a video on this guy who tried to take his silver out, and it took six weeks longer, and and they would give him, he says, dribs and drabs, and he had to complain, yell at the people to finally get all of it out. He said it was a nightmare just to recover his silver.
I believe
That
it.
and like you were saying, the 226, that's what I use 250. That's what I've heard. But regardless, every ounce of silver you own, you hold in your hand, 250 other people theoretically own the same ounce, digitally.
That's
Um,
called rehypothecation, and that's
yeah,
exactly right. And that's how they do it. And that's like a Ponzi scheme. When the whole premise of the Ponzi scheme is that everyone doesn't rush to the exit doors at once. So you have to ask yourself, why would it be that as the price has been coming down, that you're seeing record deliveries? Is it to not cause attention? Because if the price was screaming higher and you saw record deliveries off the exchanges, wouldn't that say a little bit more? And it allows people to, I think, or big money, to, under the cover of manipulation, under the cover of falling prices, reposition and remove counterparty risk. And it's happening. So when you talk about how it affects this industry, I've never seen anything like it. But again, you have the rest of the world that is experiencing the same thing. Look what happened in the UK. Their bond market just about blew up. They had to come in, the Bank of England, and do QE again and bail out the bond market. Well, that's not too far off from where we are right now. And you have Janet Yellen, this genius, talking about selling short-term treasuries to buy the back end of the bond market where there's no liquidity, because who wants to buy a 30-year bond earning 3% with 9% inflation, which is understated by half? Nobody but the Fed. It's not China. We've pissed them off, and they've sold over 150 billion in bonds over the last 7 months. Japan's not, Russia's not, Saudi Arabia is not. We just threatened Saudi Arabia with moving all of our Patriot missile battery defense system from Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates because we're mad that they won't produce any more oil for us into the midterms. And that's an act of aggression. It's about the dumbest thing our politicians could ever do, because as we've talked about before, what makes the dollar the world reserve currency? The protection of the Saudi kingdom and OPEC backing or accepting only dollars for their oil. That's coming to an abrupt end. All of these things are speeding up. And the moves by our politicians, the moves by the biggest money in the world, closest to the information, betrays the price, betrays the rhetoric. If price was that determinant of value, then who the hell and why the hell is everything disappearing from the top on down? And the people that have the wherewithal to bleed it from the top, these are the most sophisticated, well-funded, well-informed traders on the planet. These are people that don't have to wait months to get dribs and drabs. These are people that in one day last week can take 5% of all the good delivery gold bars off the Comex. 5% of 100-ounce bars gone. Where 1 month ago, one day, 45% of all the kilo bars on Comex, 25 million ounces of gold was taken off the exchange in one day. The mini contract bars, one day. Who's got that kind of bread to buy 25 million ounces of gold? And where did it go? If it's leaving Comex, where is it going? This is what I need people to think about. It's not bullshit. This is real and it's happening. And price is a tool of misdirection. You will wake up one day and it will all be changed. The switch will be flipped. The prices will go up. There'll be chaos in the markets and all the availability will be gone. But the big money, who under the cover of darkness and manipulation secured their product, took it out of harm's way, put it in their back pocket off the exchanges, no counterparty risk, will be sitting there with a smile saying, good thing we did it before it became obvious. That's what's happening. And if people don't see that, they're not paying close enough attention. And that's what my mission has been in talking about the BRICS nations, of talking about de-dollarization, talking about gold as a tier one asset, talking about the exchanges losing all their metal in ways that we've never seen before, ever, where we used to see, I don't know, 2%, 5% of contracts stand for delivery, not what they are right now, where in 1 year you're seeing a decade's worth of deliveries off the Comex and massive deliveries off of what's called exchange for physical off the off the London Metals Exchange, to where the supplies are at their lowest level ever. And so when you talk about what that really means, in 1 month, the London Metals Exchange delivered 45,166,000 ounces. That's more than is backing the entire price-setting mechanism of the world by 8 million ounces. What happens if they decide to take delivery of 38 million ounces? Bang, gone, nothing. Now what are they going to do? Are they going to make everyone who has eligible bars turn them into registered? Don't know. But all I can tell you is that we are in uncharted territory right now, where price is misdirecting people's perception of what gold and silver really are.
Yeah, that's man, it's I call it like validation. Like they need validation that the price can go higher before they start buying. It's supposed to be buy low, sell high. Most people buy high, hope it goes higher, or buy high, sell low, and panic selling. But yeah, it's crazy. Like when silver was $11 in March of 2020, I was telling people more than ever to buy silver. And if silver was going to 30 or 40, those people would have been buying it up like hotcakes. But
that's why there's a whole school of investment theory called wave theory, Elliott wave, Kondratiev wave. what those waves are measuring human emotion. And the
Uh,
emotion of fear and greed are very powerful, nothing more powerful than fear. And so when the price is going up after it's been validated, it's too late to really make profit, but everyone wants a piece of it. And when the world is collapsing and you're scared and you want to protect your ass, well, that's when you're really motivated. Well, this is what insurance is about. You don't as you're getting into a car accident, as you're slamming on your brakes, speed dial your insurance agent. Yeah, sign me up for that policy. Or
mhm.
when you come home after paying your homeowners, you don't say, damn it, my house didn't burn down today and I just paid my homeowners. This is what insurance is. Well, there's insurance against the chaos that is this world we live in right now, and against the currencies that are being destroyed, and against whatever is coming. That's what this is. It's wealth and it's also
Yeah,
insurance, but it has to be done proactively. And if you're buying it to get rich, you're missing the whole
yeah,
idea here. You're not buying it to get wealthy. It is wealth. And
it
if you
is.
own enough of
Yes.
it, you will be wealthy. You don't buy it to become wealthy. You buy it because it is wealth that has outlived every problem this world has ever seen, from German hyperinflation to the Great Depression, 2 world wars, and every pandemic. I say that all the time, but I say it so people understand why you're buying gold and silver. You're buying it because it's wealth, and you're buying it because we are in the ninth inning of a ball game that was the Keynesian Western system, and it's coming to an end. And you can see by 80 to 85% of the world forming a coalition around the globe, and the United States is not part of it. And when you see Saudi Arabia, we've been talking about my thesis that I've been talking about on Kiyosaki. I talked about it with you and Jay Martin. For 2 years, I've been saying this. And I said Saudi Arabia is going to join BRICS. They just last week told at a conference, the world, they are joining BRICS. This was validated by the Royal Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia and by the President of South Africa last week. They're joining BRICS. They're moving away from the West. Every one of the OPEC producing countries are on the Belt Road. We are going to lose the petrol reserve standard. We are going to lose the solo world reserve currency. The BRICS nations said they are going to issue a new world reserve currency, and they want it to challenge the dollar. They are going to issue the Moscow metals exchange, which will properly value metals, as they say, to remove the manipulation from the Comex and the London Metals Exchange. The chessboard is forming. And if you don't see the pieces that are in place, just about ready to call check, you're going to wish you did. And you're going to
Yeah.
wish that you just took a little bit of money and put it into gold and silver now, when you need to now, because even though the price isn't doing what all of us think it should be doing, the biggest money in the world is using that reality that they've created through manipulation of contracts, where there can be 1,800% more contracts than there are bars to be delivered. That's how they create the reality, through manipulation using levered futures contracts to create a perception of reality that allows them to drain the exchanges and reposition and de-dollarize. The big money's doing that. You don't see that out there, people. You're going to be left in the cold. And as Rick Rule, my friend, always talks about, if you take the allocation of metals from the Harvard Endowment Fund down to Joe Sixpack, in the entire United States, it's less than 0.5%. And if it's this hard to get right now, what happens if, say, 3% allocation, where just everyone has of
Yeah.
all of their assets, 3% in gold and silver? That's not too much to ask. If you have $100, $3 in silver, you got 1,000, $30 in silver. Is that too much? No, it's not. 1 ounce of silver if you have $1,000 to your name. If that were the case across the entire US, that's a 6-fold increase in demand, and there would be nothing left by tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
So I think people need to wake up, and it's getting to be the 12th hour, and you can see this by the massive drawdowns of supply off of the biggest exchanges in the world.
Yeah. Wow. I think so this happened this was similar to, not identical, but when the Hunt brothers did that on the Comex, they bought all those turned into physical delivery, and obviously there wasn't enough, so it had been exposed. Silver Rule 7, when they basically banned silver on the Comex, you couldn't buy it. Do you think the government would try to do something like that again, if things did start to, come?
Yeah, because what is the Comex? The Comex are run by the banks. The banks
Yeah.
will not eat themselves. So yes,
Yeah.
this is another reason why I believe you're seeing massive withdrawals. The smart money is the first one out the exit. So what I have right here, this is President Roosevelt. I know you can't see the reflection, but, and that's the executive order he used to
6102.
confiscate gold.
Yeah,
So the
that's
big
awesome. You
money,
have that? Wow.
yeah, we put these pieces together. We
That
made
is
the
awesome.
$20 gold certificate and a $20 gold coin. And we
Uh,
made those several years ago. But the
that is
big money, the
awesome.
smart money, they shipped their gold to safe deposit boxes in Europe months before gold was confiscated. They knew, their friends told them, and they told their friends, and they told their friends. And, if I'm a big government official and you're my best friend since high school, I'm going to give you a call and say, hey, man, you might
Yeah.
just want to send your stuff away, or you might just want to, take delivery of those contracts you have. And that's what you're seeing happen. The big money is front running what's coming. So if that's the type of situation where, if we're this close to that type of situation where the world realizes there's 1,800% more paper than there are bars to deliver and stand for delivery, they're going to say no, it's going to be cash settlement. This is, or they'll do something like the London Metals Exchange did on nickel.
Yeah.
They'll just
Yeah.
invalidate the trade. And that invalidates the legitimacy of the entire exchange. That is the same thing as a forfeiture, or as a just being exposed as a scam. So maybe that's why you're seeing all of this metal being pulled off of the LME and off of the Comex before it happens. And if it's that hard to get product at all the world's refineries and all the world's mints at the same time, everything's being bled down from the top on down, and the price has been horseshit, what does that tell you? Price is a tool of misdirection, and the biggest money in the world is using it to their advantage, not only to accumulate, but to remove counterparty risk before that event happens. And they most certainly will call force majeure before the whole exchange blows up. Sorry, cash settlement for you. All the other bigwigs that got their silver, well, they were early enough. The rest of us, you get cash. Well, at that point, the exchange is invalidated as legitimate and is branded illegitimate at that point.
Yeah, I think it's gonna that story that I covered the other day, I kept thinking, like, I feel like this is the start, and I'm going to start covering more and more of these stories. People having trouble retrieving their silver, or taking longer and longer, or who knows, even, request denied. Something along those lines. I mean, it wouldn't be too crazy. And even the article was saying, that all the signs added up, and when you see this, it could be, maybe there's a lack of, whatever happened, but the guy had to literally yell at the people for him to get his own silver. That speaks for itself.
Couldn't agree more. Couldn't
Yeah.
agree more. And you'll see more of that.
Yeah, that's what I think it's going to start happening more and more. So I think we could wrap things up here, start to wrap things up here. I thought this was a really good episode. I really appreciate, you dropping all the knowledge. I mean, I just love sitting here to just hearing you speak, man. You definitely know your stuff, and it's very informative, as everyone, can see. I definitely think that this weekly show is probably one of the best things people could tune into. I mean, on my channel, I try to offer information, from some website or something, but hearing it come directly from you definitely helps, especially from someone who's inside the industry. So, yeah,
Appreciate that.
I
You have a very diverse following too. I talk to a
yeah,
lot of your people. I talk to people who are running hedge funds that found me through you, or financial advisors, or just normal people out
yeah,
there trying to make heads or tails of what's going on. So
yeah,
don't
yeah,
sell yourself short, my friend. You belong at this table too, and I've learned stuff from listening to your show. And keep doing what you're doing. And when the evening news doesn't even show the rioting going on throughout all of Europe, and you have to go to alternative media to see it, when the evening news doesn't talk about Russia and Saudi Arabia striking a joint military cooperation agreement, or gold being revalued a tier one asset, or all of the things that we've talked about for so long that are so important. People have to search out real information, and you've done an amazing job on your own of doing that. And it's like we've said offline, I'll say here, it's an honor to work with you and to do this together and get the word out. Neither of us need to stick our neck out the way we do, but I don't know. I sleep good at night, and I will
Yeah.
tell you, of everything I've ever said in my entire career, I will say this, and I will underscore it. What is happening with supply right now is unlike anything I have ever seen. And if it doesn't change, it's going to just become unobtainium. And I think people will be able to see if it's going to change when the 2023 allocations for Silver Eagles come out. Now,
That's a good point.
when they come out, if the premiums haven't come down, it's going to be another year of high premiums. So I guess we'll just have to see. The 2023 Britannias came out. We are specialing
bought
them right
some.
now,
Yeah.
and so we had to bump them up a quarter because we sold out of we bought two allocations, 30,000 and 30,000. Only 60,000 coins is all I could get, and the second 30,000 cost me 25 cents more. They're $7.75 an ounce over silver. We're going to be specialing. I have 40 bags of junk silver I was fortunate enough to buy. I have some 100-ounce PAMP bars. We got some good stuff, and but it's not anywhere near what it was. And as a U.S. Mint distributor, if I sell Silver Eagles for $16 over, I'm as cheap as anyone in America. Buying them back for 12 or 13 over. This is an upside down, bizarro world right now that really hasn't changed since 2020. And I don't think it's going to change moving forward. In fact, the world we are living in is waking more and more people up, and it's only going to get worse. So I, for one, look forward to our weekly shows, and let's keep it up. And I appreciate being here and look forward to coming back again. And if something ever pops up midweek, which I'm
I'd be
sure
down.
it will, that's crazy, I'm a phone call away. We'll jump on and tackle the world together.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, send an email to info@milesfranklin.com. Let them know.
Don't forget the Slayer sent me.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing. And anything I can give back to you to help keep you as a young guy doing what you're doing, you give me optimism in that. I once thought that anyone who didn't have gray hair, didn't understand precious metals. And I think it's fantastic that a younger, bright guy like you is spreading the world a word out there. I hope people your age and younger are listening, because the more things change in life in every respect, the more they stay the same. And gold has been money and wealth for 5,000 years, and it will be in the year 3000 when the dollar bills in our wallet are hanging from a frame in the Smithsonian. So anyways, I'll let you run. You stay well, and I'll look forward to seeing you next week.
Yeah, you too. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. This is Silver Slayer. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.